Hi, my name is James Zasselford and I'm with ADRA Canada. And today I'm in the Kingdom of Cambodia. Come share with me some of the exciting things ADRA has been doing in this country. When I mention Cambodia, what images come to your mind? The magnificent temple ruins of Angkor Wat? The quaint floating villages of Tonle Sap Lake? Or a sad TV documentary about the human trafficking of young girls? Or life in the slums of Phnom Penh? Many people might remember the recent civil war that turned the peaceful rice paddies of Cambodia into horrific killing fields, where an estimated 2 million people lost their lives. What is often missed in the TV documentaries is the devastating effect that war can have on individual survivors and even whole communities.
Life was very difficult for a young girl growing up during wartime. I would be captured and held for months at a time. The soldiers would torture and abuse me. There were many dark nights when I thought for sure that I would die.
The trauma of the things that we have experienced has had a lasting impact on our lives. Even today, many people in our community spend their days drinking as a way to escape their pain. Because it has become a part of our everyday life, violence toward each other, especially within families, was almost considered normal or commonplace.
Even though I was quite small at the time, I still remember the fear that would come over us when the bombs would land in our village and how we would have to run and hide in a bunker near our house. I would have loved to have gone to school as a child, but because of the war, I never had the chance.
The Pol Pot regime was, in many ways, a war against people with an education. Knowing how to read was dangerous. If the soldiers found out that you could read, there was a good chance that you would be killed. So there was not a big incentive for us to learn.
Not only did the people of Cambodia lose their motivation to learn, they lost their teachers. Over a 4-year period, the Khmer Rouge systematically killed teachers, nurses, doctors, engineers, and civil servants, leaving a vacuum of leadership and knowledge. As a result, even when the war was over, many communities, especially in the remote areas of the country, were without leadership or structure. For years, they remained trapped in patterns of social dysfunction and self-destruction. It was only as agencies like ADRA began to enter these communities, offering programs of water and sanitation, health education, literacy, skills training and agricultural instruction, that healing finally began to take place. I have had the opportunity to visit some of the villages where ADRA is working and see firsthand how ADRA is changing lives. I sat down with Sophie Rom, the regional coordinator of a special ADRA initiative, appropriately called Reflect. She shared with me how Reflect got started and how it has evolved into such a successful program.
Before ADRA started working in this part of Cambodia, there was a lot of domestic and community violence. Husbands and wives fought with each other, and children were neglected. There was a lot of sickness and death. Parents did not understand the value of education and were not sending their children to school. With this wide range of problems, we decided that the best approach would be to follow a model of community development that has been very successful in other countries, called Reflect. In this program, the women of the village are invited to join a community group where they can get together on a regular basis and discuss the issues of their village. When we first proposed this program to the villages here, the ladies were a little skeptical of people coming from the outside and thought the meetings would be a waste of time. We conducted surveys to see what kinds of things the ladies would be interested in. and then developed a customized program which met the needs of each local village. We then selected one woman from each village and brought them to the ADRA office and trained them to become group facilitators. With a local woman leading the group, the women started to come. Some of the things that we incorporated into the program were things like teaching the women how to read, how to make personal income, how to live healthier lives, family planning, HIV and AIDS, the danger of human trafficking, how to take good care of their babies, how to be a better parent, and how to grow better gardens. The program has become very popular. We have now started the Reflect group in 44 villages throughout the province of Pursat.
In Prongil village in Pursat province, here in Cambodia, we have an ADRA project, and I'm wondering what difference these projects make in the lives of ordinary men, women, and children. So here in her home, I'm going to ask Hun Bonak Mai if she can tell me what the differences are. Yipsu. Hun Bonak Mai, can you tell me what life was like here in your community before the ADRA project?
Before ADRA came to work in our village, it was like looking out over a field where all the flowers had withered. There was a lot of violence in the family, a lot of hunger and sickness. There was no real sanitation, no latrines. Children didn't go to school, and people basically wasted their days, not really doing anything productive. With no one to talk to about their problems, suicide rates were high, especially for women. Since ADRA started working here, so much has changed. It is like the flowers have started to bloom again. Family violence has dropped. Children feel safe at home. They rarely get sick anymore. They no longer disappear from the village, and they are going to school. We are learning better ways to spend our time, new ways to make money, and new ways to grow better crops and gardens.
As I listen to our ADRA staff here in Cambodia and villagers in the different communities around this area, I hear the message again and again. They see us as partners for positive change.
ADRA has really changed my life in a powerful way. A few years ago, my husband abandoned me, and I was left to raise my 4 children on my own. I had always relied on my husband for everything, and suddenly, life became very hard. I rarely went to school as a child, and I really did not have many skills. There are no factories in this part of Cambodia, and I didn't want to move to the city. My friends and neighbors were very helpful, but it was still very difficult to find enough money to survive. Then ADRA started a Reflect group in our village. We would meet several times a week, and in these sessions, I not only learned how to read, but I also learned how to start a small business. One of the things that ADRA taught us was how to grow vegetables. They supplied us with good quality seeds and taught us how to grow our produce organically with natural fertilizer and no pesticides. This was all very new to me. I have never had a garden before, and now, with the help of ADRA, my children were eating good meals every day. I really enjoyed doing this work so much that I decided to start my own small business. A women's group started a small savings and loans program, and from this, I was able to get a small loan for the tools that I needed to do the work. When I first started, my neighbors were very skeptical as to whether I would be successful. But with the support of my Reflect group and the encouragement of my ADRA facilitator, my market garden has been a big success. I think that many of my friends and neighbors have actually been shocked at how well it has worked out. The money that I am now making from my market garden is helping me raise my children. Since we have started eating our own vegetables, I have noticed that my children are much healthier. I know that most of the vegetables sold in the market use chemical fertilizers, and we used to get sick a lot. Now, with all of this good food and the health training that ADRA has given us, we hardly ever get sick. I'd like to say a special thank you to the people who have helped pay for this program. I can't tell you how much it has meant to us to have this kind of training and encouragement. It has enabled us to take control of our lives and help us learn new ways to earn money for our children. Thank you so much.
I can't help but be warmed by the smile and the warmth of Sao Mom as she says thank you to the ADRA donors who have made this agricultural project possible. After a couple of years working with the women of a village, ADRA Cambodia began to get requests from many of the men in the communities where they were working.
When we saw how the ADRA Reflect group was helping the women of our village, some of the men here began to ask if they could also have a group program. Living in the countryside, we have a lot of free time, and we have not always used our time wisely. ADRA has shown us how we can take control of our time and use it to better support our families. One big point of discussion at the beginning was how to have a better relationship with our wives. Thanks to what we have learned in the Reflect groups, we now have much less conflict in our homes, and family violence throughout our community has reduced a lot. Before ADRA came here, most of the men would do very little around the house. They would go to the fields or jungle, or go drinking and gambling with their friends. Now, we have learned the importance of helping our wives around the house and being there to support our families and children. We have learned how important and rewarding it can be to build loving and caring relationships with our wives, with our children, and with our neighbors.
We found that the group sessions had an unexpected result. Groups not only help build relationships, facilitate healing, and build solidarity, they also bring accountability to the individual. If someone knows that their negative behavior will likely become the topic of conversation at the next group meeting, they are more likely to think twice before they act abusively towards a family member or neighbor. If one member of the group has a problem, it affects everyone in the group. Alone, a person can be thoughtless and weak. As part of a group, they become strong through encouragement, support, and accountability.
I would like you to meet Vani, a young girl living in this part of Cambodia. In many ways, Vani represents thousands of children whose lives have been forever changed as a result of their parents attending the ADRA Reflect groups.
Hi, my name is Vanny. I live in a small village in the central part of Cambodia. I have 2 brothers and 1 little sister. We all live together here with our parents on a small farm that we share with my grandfather. I have to say that I really like living in Cambodia. We have 2 seasons. We have the rainy season, where we can get a heavy rain almost every day. This is when we grow our rice and vegetables. And then we have the dry season, when it is hot, dry, and dusty. We never get winter or snow like they do in other countries, just the dry season and the rainy season. As you can probably guess by the very dry, harvested rice fields all around me, we are right now in the dry season. As much as I like the rainy season, when all of these fields are a beautiful green, the dry season is also a lot of fun. It is during the dry months from November to May that my family is able to make money from the palm trees that grow near our house. In Cambodia, we have a special type of palm tree called the sugar palm. The flowers of this tree produce a sweet juice that can be easily made into sugar. My father collects palm juice from the trees twice a day. The first time is early in the morning. He gets up about 5 o'clock and goes out to make his rounds. He climbs up the palm trees with empty containers on his back. Once he is up in the very top of the trees, he cuts small holes into the budding flowers and places his containers right under the hole. As the juice oozes out of the hole, it drips down into the container. He then picks up the containers that have been filling up overnight and carefully climbs down the tree. After he has climbed all 10 trees on his route, he gathers all of his containers and brings them back to our house.
Vanny is a big help in our sugar business. Because her school shares classrooms with the lower grades, she only attends class in the afternoons. This means that she is free to help us around the house all morning long. When I get back from the field, she pours all the palm juice through a strainer to remove any twigs or leaves that have fallen into the syrup overnight. We pour the clean palm juice into a big container for processing. She then helps me build a fire using wood that she and her mother have cut. Once the palm juice has come to a boil, it needs to be stirred occasionally to keep it from burning. Vanny takes her turn at this, as well as scooping off the foam that builds up on the surface.
When I am not stirring or scooping, my mornings are filled with other chores around the house. We are lucky to have our own well right in our backyard. A lot of other kids at my school have to walk a long way every day to get water. But I am able to get as much water as we need right from our very own well. We use the water for showers, cooking, cleaning, washing the dishes, and washing clothes.
Vanny is a very lovely, thoughtful girl. Even though she is only 12 years old, she is already a big help around our house. She cooks meals, washes clothes, helps us make the sugar, and on Sundays, her day off from school, she also takes her turn helping us with the cows. As there are not many fences in Cambodia, the cows need to either be tied up or carefully watched.
After the palm juice has boiled for about 2.5 hours, we move the whole container over to another spot in our yard where we can stir the thick juice as it cools. My dad has built a device where we can turn a big stirring stick simply by pulling on ropes. It gets the job done fast. After only 20 minutes of stirring, the sticky juice has turned into real sugar. It seems like all of the kids in our neighborhood always know just the right time to show up for a taste. Once the sugar has fully cooled and is just the right consistency, we pack it up into jars or plastic bags, weigh it on a scale, ready to sell in the marketplace.
From the sugar that we sell, we are able to make about $5 a day. I know that this is dangerous work. Some of my friends have fallen from the trees and have been badly hurt. It would be nice if I could find a safer way to make a living. But there are not a lot of job opportunities in this part of Cambodia, and right now, this is the only way I know how to make enough money for our family to survive.
After the morning sugar has been processed, my next job is to cook lunch for the family. My mom has taught me how to clean fish, chop the vegetables, and cook rice. And then, as soon as my brothers and sisters make it back from school, we all sit down together and eat. After doing the dishes, it is time for me to get on my bike and go to class. My school is only a short distance from my house, and it only takes me about 15 minutes to get there. I really like my school. I have made so many friends there. My teacher is very kind and understanding. She encourages me and helps us out a lot. I think that my favorite subject is mathematics, and of course, recess.
I have big dreams for Vanny and all my children. We are going to do our very best to work out a way so that Vanny will be able to finish her high school and then go on to college. For all of this, we owe a big thanks to ADRA. Before ADRA began to work in our village, we did not fully understand the importance of getting an education. It was just not a big priority in our community. The Reflect program that ADRA has run here has really shifted our thinking. It has helped us view life in different and more positive ways. The things that we have learned about hygiene and sanitation has already improved our health. We are no longer getting sick so much. My husband and I have learned how to read and write and learned new ways to make more income from our farm.
ADRA has taught us many techniques of how to have better crops and gardens. We are making our own fertilizer, and we have seen a real increase in production. ADRA has also taught us many things about how to live better and healthier lives. I used to smoke, but ADRA has shown us how dangerous tobacco can be to our health and have helped us quit.
The Reflect program has taught us how to get along better with our neighbors, our spouses, and our children. The program has placed a real emphasis on family values and good parenting skills. This has been a very positive impact, not only on my life and that of my family, but this whole community. I would like to say a special thanks to ADRA for bringing the Reflect program to our community. Thank you so much for making this program possible. This has really changed our lives.
After I get all of the education that I can at the school in my village, I hope that I will be able to go on to college in the capital city of Cambodia, Phnom Penh. It is my goal to one day become a doctor. I really admire the work that they are able to do to help save people's lives, and that is what I would like to one day be able to do.
How wonderful it is to see the change that can come over a life as a result of a simple ADRA program. If ADRA had not entered her village, Vanny may never have finished the 4th or 5th grade. Now she has dreams of a life of education and service. The Reflect groups were a big success. Through simple programs of education, discussion, and support, the Killing Fields of Cambodia are slowly being transformed into the Healing Fields of Cambodia, as neighbors and families build bonds of trust, respect, and appreciation. Only one group seemed to be left out. Women had their groups, men had their meetings, children were now attending school. Only the preschool children were neglected. When ADRA group facilitators noticed that young children were either left to run wild during a group meeting or caused so much distraction that mothers were not able to fully benefit, ADRA Cambodia decided to create a program especially designed just for them. It was called A New Day for Kids. Under the direction of a trained facilitator, preschoolers now have their own Reflect groups, where they not only enjoy fun and games, but also learn the importance of hygiene, respect for parents and elders, and domestic skills. Singing helps to reinforce the lessons. As you and I listen to these stories from people in the villages around Pursat, we're hearing courage, determination, and personal success. ADRA has made a difference. And of course, I am ADRA, you are ADRA. So together we're making a positive change. And it's not just that Canadians are making a difference through their funding, it's because Cambodians are finding solutions to Cambodian challenges. That's the genius of the ADRA network, is that people are empowered in their own communities to find the solutions that make a difference for them. I noticed that the local Cambodian staff are committed to that difference, and they mobilize the community spirit. They make the environment possible where local people are once again smiling and finding a way out of their difficulties. Time and time again on this trip, I hear the message, please stay with us, stay the course. The changes that are taking place don't happen overnight, and we need that partnership and that friendship for the future as well. So I'm appealing to you as well to make your support of ADRA Canada part of your everyday life. Sign up for monthly giving. Make sure that that check comes at a special time for a birthday or an anniversary or when you do your year-end accounts. But support the ADRA annual appeal so that communities like the one I'm standing in will continue to feel the growth and the change that can take place when we partner together.